My job is to educate and rehabilitate dogs in a natural way. To achieve the dog's natural balance. For me, using treats and rewards is an insult to the dog. Another thing is if you're doing obedience or specific training to get a conditioned behavior from the dog. To the dog. For me, another thing is if you're doing obedience or specific training to achieve a conditioned behavior from the dog. So, you can use chew toys or treats. Also, here we have, they are police officers. One of the officers has been in dog trainers that you've worked with. So, those that have that drive, so to speak, work better with chew toys. There are others that work with treats. But do you want to achieve something very specific, which isn't the work that I do? I'm not doing obedience training, nor are we doing any kind of training. Positive reinforcement is positive training, but it's still training. In fact, when I talk about dog education, it's more for humans than for the dogs. I've never done obedience training with any of my dogs. I've never told any of my dogs to sit. Never. I've never told him to lie down. I've never made him wait. I've never told him to lie down. I've never made him wait. Never. None of our dogs. All my dogs are trained in a state. Another thing is wanting things right away. The difference between what we do and what everyone else does is that we don't give a bag of tricks. A bag of tricks? For what? So that when your dog does this, you do that. But I have a fundamental problem with that premise. The problem with bags of tricks, you know what it is. That you're mentally waiting for the dog to do something so you can activate what's needed to stop that behavior. I don't care if it's a yank and a punishment or a treat when the dog does well. But you're waiting for the dog to either have a behavior, or negative to punish or positive to reinforce. And what that creates is a disconnection. In the rest of the time, which is really the important part, we try to do what's called first principles, which is the logic of first principles. Here, the goal is to break down all the information we have to the smallest point possible to see if what's being done now is actually being done. Because it really is the most effective and addresses the starting point of where things come from or if it's done out of habit. Because this happens in a lot of disciplines, not just with dogs. We enter a professional world where things are done this way. You study and train in the ways that exist. But you don't know if what is done really comes because everything is there. Very, very, very studied and well proven or just out of habit. And that can be complicated sometimes. But Ma and I, we believe so much in the way we train dogs, and we believe just as much in the states we're teaching our child. Exactly the same way we train dogs, which is based on states, not on behaviors.